Peace and blessings, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Assembly of Excellence. I am your host for this evening, Deep Entropy. I hope all is well with each and every single one of you. Get comfortable, grab your favorite drink, and let's get into the conversation. We got a good one for you. Thank you all for stopping by and tuning in. By the end of this live stream, I hope that you take something from this conversation. I always find it very, very humbling and um, pleasing to be able to sit across from another adult to have conversations about life, about celebrating each other's victories and successes, and exploring the unknown that is this universe that we so gracefully walk every so often. The guest that I'm about to bring up today is another soul that I hope that you get to know along the way. Make sure that you tune in intently. You got your eyes and your ears completely open, and that you're very receptive to what is about to happen here. Miss Foster, I welcome you.
Hi,
Peace and blessings to you. How are you this evening?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm trying to manage this weather. It's up and down. Today is warm, but tomorrow is probably going to be freezing cold. You never really know what you're going to get.
Yeah, the season is changing.
Just not, yeah,
Next week is changing.
exactly, exactly. That's a fact. That's a fact. Funny thing. I don't know if you do this or know anyone who do it, but I always look outside of my window to see what a person is wearing to kind of gauge what I should be wearing when I leave out the house. And
I,
sometimes it works, sometimes it's very deceptive.
mhm. Usually, well, I live in private
Yeah.
housing, so not so many people walk down the streets. It's like that during the time that I leave. So when I leave, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's still in their beds or still trying to get ready for work. So I basically go off of the weather on my phone or the news.
I have mixed emotions about the news and just the weather channel in general because sometimes they're accurate and then sometimes it's like, why did I even listen to them in the first place? But hey,
Yeah, I do.
I know a lot of people tend to get sick misreading the temperature outside, so I'll still be wearing a coat until I see the leaves starting to grow back
Yeah, I see
at this
a lot
point.
of people taking their jackets off
But
now.
yeah, and I give it another week or two, people are going to be walking around jogging and in their shorts and in their skirts, and that is summertime. Nah, I'll pass on that.
Same here.
But we I'm on I'm excited about this. Um Poetess, you are one of the rare gems of the poetry community. I don't get this chance very often to sit across from someone that is able to be so smooth and so soft with their words, but yet so powerful and still have this energy in them where they can command a audience.
I
To
appreciate
the
those kind
world,
words.
to the ones that are watching, let us know a little bit about Miss Foster. Who is Miss Foster? Where is she from? What's your story?
So, my name is Janaya Foster. My stage name is Myraklez. That is uniquely spelled Myraklez. And I'm from New York, Queens, New York. Um, I'm a I'm a teacher. I teach children with autism, preschool, and I also work with adult with the mental illness population.
Love that. I love that. And it's interesting that you brought up that um we did a show a couple months back about teaching. Um how do you feel about your position? How did you get into that field of work? And what's the
Um,
climate and the environment like for you?
Mainly I went to school for the deaf and hard of hearing to work with the deaf and hard of hearing. So right now currently I'm taking my certifications to be certified, but right now I'm teaching children with autism. I've been working with children with autism since the 2013. So I just, stuck my foot in the door. Basically it's a great experience because you see from a different aspect of children that have special needs. They're just like us, but they need more assistance. It's good, me working with them because I get to learn who they are as a personality. I come across with different personalities with these children, and I love it. And I want to pursue it more when I'm working with children that's hearing impaired, because I am hearing impaired myself. I'm deaf in the right ear. So that's what made me, want to, educate and be an adolescent, not an adolescent, uh, uh what's the word? Oh my, I'm forgetting the word. Sorry. um I want to be an advocate. Sorry, that's the word. I want to be an advocate for other people that other kids that have hearing impairments.
In your opinion, what is one of the most difficult challenges in teaching children with autism? Because I have a friend who has a child that has it, and she's over the years shared different experiences with his sensory and things of that nature. But unless you've actually been around someone with this, or you've had to deal with it more than just 5 minutes, you could never really understand. What would you say some of the biggest challenges are with interacting with anyone that has that?
Um, just like regular, the average human being, children with autism, each day they might feel a different way. One day they might feel happy, one day they might feel sad. So it's just more of the challenge of trying to figure out ways of trying to help them, you know, come with coping skills on how to communicate. And, you know, a lot of the children that have autism, you know, they can't communicate. So, you know, we find ways of trying to help them to communicate, whether it's gesture, whether it's, you know, using a textbook, which is like, you know, using pictures to point to what you want, or verbally trying to say it. But because they have so little vocabulary, it's kind of hard. But with these, being able not being able to communicate is more of a challenge for them and us, because as teachers, as educators, because it's like, okay, they might have a behavior, and they're crying, and it's like, okay, you know, they're crying in tears, and, you know, I don't have children, but, you know, as people that do have children, and they see their own children, you know, their children crying and everything, they're like, okay, you know, what how can you know, how can I, what, you know, what can I do for them and everything. So it's like, you know, as a teacher, you know, you're trying to figure out ways to, like, okay, you know, the child is crying, you know, because they can't communicate, they want something, and it's like, you know, you have to take a deep breath and say, okay, let me, you know, try to focus on trying to get you to communicate with me what you want, show me, gesture me, pull me, you know, things like that.
The reason I asked is because I think that us as human beings, we're so programmed to look at people one way. And so if you see anything that's out of the norm to you, you kind of go into prejudgment mode, and you begin to kind of categorize people as
Excuse me.
being something that you really don't understand. So if a person goes into a store and they're violent, or they're very disruptive in the line where they're getting ready to pay for this stuff, we could automatically assume that this person is either going to be a problem, or it's going to be something else. And I think a lot of times, especially in this area, if you see someone that's acting out, you kind of don't have the empathy or the reasoning skills to kind of process the fact, like, everybody is different. Not to say that different is a bad thing, but you got to be very careful with how you treat people and how you deal with the fact that we come in variety. I'm more reserved. I'm not very loud. You might be more externally expressive. Everyone is different. So I learned a lot just by that experience. And he's an awesome kid. He's very smart. He's smarter than a lot of adults. They have a lot more sense than some adults our age, and even in Gen X. So I want to say I appreciate the transparency, and I think you are definitely a blessing in that area, because a lot of people do not have the patience. First of all, regular teachers just teaching regular children that don't have certain disabilities alone already are crashing out. But for you to take on what you're doing means that you have a heart for this. And I recognize that in people. And I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
So you say you're from New York. I heard the accent. And it's funny because I know a few people that live out there. So the minute you started speaking, I was like, yeah, she definitely from NY. I've never been. I've never been, but I always ask, what is it like to live in the Big Apple?
It's chaotic. It's very chaotic. It's overpacked when you're traveling on. They have all this access to all this transportation, but it's like everyone is on top of each other on the trains, on the buses. Just chaotic. It's just not enough. It's not a place where I'm learning that it's not a place where you wanna, you wanna build a family, because it's like, it's just so much going on, and it's like you want to venture out to other states and so forth. But it is, every state has their pros and cons at the end of the day. So it is, you do get that culture background. You see the different things that happen in New York, as well as any other state and so forth.
Right. I'm not a city person. I was born in Washington, D.C., but I've never been accustomed to the consistent traffic, the noise, the street lights, the fire stations sounding off for emergencies, ambulances. Just it's never really been my thing. I love it in increments. Maybe for the historical parts of it, the monument, so on and so forth, maybe the museums. There's certain vibes that I enjoy about it, but to stay here is preference, I guess. But just like there, the pricing of everything is going up more and more every year. I couldn't see myself living anywhere that's going to require me to have 3 to 4 jobs. That's just ridiculous to me. On top of not being able to navigate through the city like you would like to conveniently and not have to go through all the hoops and hurdles to get to A and B. I still want to visit though. I just for the nostalgia of it. I still want to see all of the big screens on the buildings, and I want to see the ball drop and all that. So I think for me, it's gonna for you it's probably like, yeah, it's just New York. For me, it's probably gonna be like, wow, this is
Yeah, I don't
amazing.
really like the
But then I'm gonna
city. I don't really go to like
see all the
Manhattan.
traffic.
I don't really go into Manhattan to like
Okay,
adventure and
so
the
if
different things
you
that happens.
okay, so if someone was going, if I was going to tour for maybe a week, what would I have to put on my to do list for a
Um,
decent experience?
well, you got to visit Manhattan. There's a lot of different restaurants to go to. Um, and each, like, we have different boroughs, so each borough has different things that they're known for. um I don't venture out like that. I go out, but I prefer to go out to different states than in New York. But you do the average things. Like I usually go bowling, and the city has different, like I said, they have different restaurants. What else is there? Oh, I don't even really. I can't even really tell you. Like oh, people go to Statue of Liberty. They do like the taxi tour across the water. Um, what else do they do? South Street Seaport. There's different like restaurants over there and different activities over there. Yeah. So it depends on what you're.
Something that just crossed my mind. Okay, I got you. I haven't went bowling in a while though, but I think I am still pretty good. I think I am. I have to try my hand at it again at some point. There was actually a story um about an island out there in New York that is shut off completely from everything. I think it's called Hart Island or something like that.
What did you say it again was?
I would have to go back and find that. I think it was called Hart Island.
Mm, I don't remember. I don't recall that.
I'm not. I'm, yeah, I might be wrong about the name. It has something to do with heart or something, but it's an island that is completely closed off to the general public. No one is allowed to go there unless you schedule months ahead of time to be able to take a tour or something like that because of all of the bad history of that particular island. I would want to investigate that. I would like to see that. Unless, that story was kind of far-fetched and they just made the whole thing up. If I find it, I'll share it to you so you can see what I'm talking about. It's supposed to be an island out there that's completely shut off from the people, and they use that island specifically to bury people, or they couldn't locate the family of the person who passed away. It goes back to polio and all of that stuff. So it was an interesting story. I'll share it to you if I find it. I would definitely want to check that out just out of curiosity.
Okay. I never heard of it. But
But
I was just thinking,
yeah, yeah.
Chelsea Piers also is out there too.
Well, say that one more time.
Chelsea Piers. Chelsea Piers it has like different activities over there as
Okay.
well. Like, and then they have most of the water there. You could do I think they have we could do the boats and it's like different activities, but they have like a center there. It's very big in Chelsea Piers. It's in Manhattan. All the activities is mainly in Manhattan, but you have different other things in the other boroughs, but mainly the activities is in Manhattan. And also you gotta go with the Broadway plays. I just
Okay.
remember those two.
Okay. I've never been to one.
Which
I've
one
never
did I
been to
go
one.
to?
Like
I forgot. What's the movie with Whoopi Goldberg? Um, oh my gosh, with Lauryn Hill. That movie. But they did the Broadway play
oh,
to that. Sister Act. They did that one. I saw that one. Um, what other one? It was a couple of different Broadway plays, but that's what also you could go to the city and see the different Broadway plays and stuff. I want to go see Aladdin.
okay. Okay. How was it? Oh, you say you want to go see it.
Yeah, I want to go see Aladdin, but Sister Act, it was okay. It was, you're not you. It's not like the movie, but it's like, oh, that's the one I saw. Rent. There was it was also like a movie, but they made it as a play first, and that one I really liked. That was the one Broadway play I really liked.
I don't know. I've always had a pet peeve about remakes to movies. Like there's some movies where you can get away with it, but then there's others where it's like I wish you just wouldn't have touched it at all. You know what I'm saying?
Sister Act is one of those. Sister Act is one of
But
those.
maybe so you're a teacher
Yes.
Um, I know that you see things in it. I know you see things in and out of the classroom. I've always wanted to ask a teacher specifically because my sister is a substitute, but you're actually fully in the field. So I know you see and hear different stories about things that happen in different classrooms with um disciplinary being lacked in the classrooms,
Wait, you
kids
broke up.
being
I
out of
didn't hear what you
hand
said.
and things of that nature. So I guess my question is, how do you feel about the way the system is set up now in classrooms with teachers having to deal with children who aren't really being respectful and are making your job harder, and it's causing teachers to either retire, quit, or it's putting them in compromising positions where they could lose their job because of how out of order it's gotten in 2024 with the way children are being brought up. How do you feel just as a teacher yourself having to see it for yourself firsthand?
So I don't deal with that portion. Like, well, when I was teaching dance, because I used to teach dance, and after school. So, and I really focus on mainly, the younger age group, more of like up to 5 to 6 years old. So I really don't come into interaction with that age group that you might think of like middle school or high school, because the kids is out of control or anything. So I hear stories, but I never been into that situation. I just prefer my preference is to work with children that are from, like I said, from the ages of pre-K to first or second grade. So it's more, that's the age group I really focus on. So I really haven't come into concert with that, especially being that my students are children with special needs. They don't have that situation where it's like, okay, I know for sure that they're just driving me insane, cause me to say, let me retire early. No, it's more of these are children that I know that, they can't help it. They are trying to figure out how to communicate. They're trying to do basic ADL skills, daily living skills, just things like that.
Okay, okay. You got off easy because a lot of a lot of I don't know what it is. I don't. I get online and I'm looking at certain things on YouTube and social media, and I'm seeing all this weird, uneasy stuff, and just even me growing up and seeing how my teachers were versus the ones now, and how the kids versus now. It's just I've always just wondered why has it gotten so bad in those areas, but that's neither here nor there. I was just curious to know if you've ever been in a specific situation with someone that in that field, maybe that might have that outlook on it. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just one of those. I guess that's just one of those things where it's always going to be a discussion about it. Um, tell me a little bit about how you got into spoken word and got into poetry.
So I've been writing poetry since I was a kid, but I never um performed my poetry. I always just write. And then as I joined my sorority in 2010, so they started having events for like different causes. So it was like breast cancer or lupus, things like that. We would go for the walks and stuff, and AIDS walk. And basically they would have these events. I'm also a praise dancer, so I'll perform my different things during these events. And I just started doing my poetry. And it's just I wanted to express my feelings. You go through different things, basically life situations, and it just caused me to like say I wanted to speak up more. And then once the pandemic happened, that's when everybody was on live, on Instagram live, having these different Instagrams, these lives. And I was saying, okay, I want to share my work and so forth like that. So yeah.
And the pandemic is actually the reason why I started podcasting. Actually, soon as the pandemic hit, I noticed that people on Instagram were becoming antsy. Everybody wanted to be doing something. I think that was probably the most active I've ever seen Instagram in a long time. Everybody was in everybody's live streams. Everybody was posting. Everybody was. It was completely lit. And at that time, I said, you know what? I've never been on stage before, but a virtual open mic would be pretty dope.
Hmm.
And I was never really comfortable with being on a camera. And try this out. So I started hosting my own open mics on Instagram, and I loved the response that I was getting. There's a different energy. The people are more welcoming and more humble. Everyone is there to have a good time. Everybody is supporting and enjoying just the entire atmosphere. And I got addicted to it. Then I just started to go on and on and on and on. And I just wanted to continue to do it. And I did. And the more I did it, it was just now I want to branch off a little bit more. I want to do a little bit more with this. And so I feel you on how you got into it. I definitely do. I haven't looked back since. So let me see. Huh. Do you remember your first poem, the first one you've ever written?
Um, that was when I was younger. No. Um, I know the one that I first performed when I first started to get into it. Uh, it was something about the mirror, like me staring at my reflection, and yeah, basically explaining what I didn't like. It's funny that you said, you wasn't the type person to speak, or out, in public and everything. And because I have a paralysis on my right side, like I was always into dancing, so I didn't have to speak. So it was more of now, I'm getting that courage and confidence to, express myself verbally instead of just do dancing. So yeah. So that poem basically was explaining, me just basically, staring at a reflection and saying what I really want to be instead of what I am. And I didn't like what I was. So yeah, I don't really remember.
You say you do performance in terms of like dancing. Tell me a little bit about that. How did you get into that?
I've been dancing since I was 4 years old. My favorite type of dancing is ballet and tap. I started to get into the praise dancing team. Praise dancing, I used to do like my own solo things, and then I joined my church. Um, it's just me, expressing myself, my heartache and pains, my glories, my positive and my negative side of the world. Expressing how I am. For people that know me, they know that when I express it, it's like I go into really deep in expressing my story, regardless if it's me verbally saying it or through dance. That's one of the things that I love. That's one of the hobbies that I enjoy doing because it's more I can sit there and twirl and twirl and twirl, and that's just me on the dance floor, not caring about anybody that's on the in that room. It could be like 50 million people across the world that's in that room, and it's just me, and the purpose of me sitting there saying, let me shake off everything that I'm going through, and it's just me in that dance and those words that I'm interpreting through my dance.
I think that's dope. I do. I don't have no rhythm whatsoever. I want to take dance classes one day. I would love to at least do that. At least be able to move my lower half. Everything everything from torso up, I'm okay. Everything down, the legs and the feet, they do not know which way to go whatsoever. I would not embarrass myself. I've done a few videos where I'm kind of just joking around, just making light of it, but nah. Um, so I, something that I'm curious about. What's your end game? What's your ultimate goal with your poetry and you know these tours that you're taking and getting your stuff out there? What's the mission here?
I'm basically trying to share my story of what happened to me when I was 2 years old. Um, I want to write a book, basically explaining why I call myself Miracles. I'm playing around with the title right now, but it's hopefully within the next month I'll be publishing that book. Just explaining my story. Just to reach out to people that don't be feeling, everybody has this purpose where you don't want to make people feel like you want to teach people not to feel discouraged, not to feel like, okay, I can't do this because of this. But if you just keep pushing yourself and pushing yourself to do it, you can believe in yourself and have confidence again, to make sure that you understand, like, okay, even if you have one limb, or if you can't hear, you can still find ways to go about life. It might not be like the average person that has all these different characteristics, or these different things that they blessed with, but you can still get motivated from different things to keep pushing, to say, okay, I can get through this, even though I might have a hearing disability, or I'm blind, or just some type of physical, mental, emotional disability. You can still strive to be the best that you can be. So that's what my book is basically explaining. My story of how I got shot by a gun at the age of 2, and it's me telling my story, then me going into the me having a conversation with the bullet, and then the person that did the shooting. I don't want to give too much into what my book is going to be. So I rather, not a lot of people know my story. Close people know my story, but not everybody knows my story. So I rather them get into it like, oh my, I didn't know that. So a lot of people, that's the thing about, ever since I was a kid, a lot of people was like afraid to ask. Even I was afraid to, like, if I see somebody else have a disability, I'm afraid to ask them, why do they have this disability? And it's like me encouraging, like, okay, let's be able to ask people, why is your mouth like that, or why is this, or not be like, oh, you're cripple lip, or calling people names instead of asking questions of how this happened and how that didn't happen, and so forth.
Right, right. goes back to what I was saying earlier about, how we kind of just presume people are certain ways just off of face value, but we really don't know that everybody is unique and we've all had different paths and different walks. So we should be more in tune with that and understand that life is not easy for everybody. Some people have it harder than others. And whether or not you're super successful or you're in the crumbs of America, everyone has their own path and their own story, and it should be looked at with the same amount of respect as anyone else's. Perspective means everything. We can completely shatter and alter the course of so many things by looking at it the wrong way. So I think this right here is very important in the example that you're trying to give in terms of sharing your story and your background, because we just get too caught up in the fast life. We're not really living to live for God, or we're kind of more of a selfish type of a being where we're not really worried about anyone else outside of our family or out of ourselves. It's like a constant survival mode for human beings who are trying to get the most out of life without understanding that the things that you should be doing to get the most out of it, you're probably not doing. So I look forward to the day that you drop your book and you get your word and your thought out there. I hope a lot of this gives more context to people. Um, without giving away anything, people who are going to watch this back now or in the future, what would you like for them to know about Janaya Foster, about Miracles, about who you are in this community, what you stand for? What would you say to them right now?
Repeat your question. It was going in and out. I'm sorry.
So the question is, what would you say to the people who are newly introduced to you? They've never met you, they've never seen your work, they don't know anything about your history, what you stand for. Um, what is your message to the people that you are about to broaden your outreach to?
So basically, I would just basically tell everyone, simply ask questions. You never know, what everyone's going through. So, you want to ask questions. Don't come too harsh or you feel like you're gonna offend someone by asking them the question because people rather, I rather, be asked what happened, not assume what happened. Excuse me. Excuse me. I rather people, ask questions and not assume what happened, that oh, she basically got hit by a bus or a car or something like that, or assume because I said I had an accident, you're assuming that it's a different accident. It's not so much of the gun accident or something. Ask questions. It doesn't hurt to ask questions and find out different answers. And don't doubt yourself that that is you're going to get a negative response from the person. Just come up with an open mind set and say, okay, let me just get the courage to ask you this question, and basically that's it.
Okay. Okay. Um, I have two questions, and I want the first thing that comes to mind on both. Whatever comes to mind based on the the name or whatever the question is. I like to play this little game where I pick the brain of someone just based off of some type of word association. So my first one is
I don't know. Funny. uh I don't really know his situation of recently on YouTube or whatever the social media, because I don't really get into that background stuff like that. But funny. Um, I guess that's it. I really don't know.
the music industry.
um, Everyone's into different things, so music industry can depend on different genres. People could be into gospel, into hip hop. Um, based whatever that person is called to, whatever that they was called to deliver to the world and everything. That's based off of what they believe in, to deliver to the community out here.
Social media influencers.
um oh, there's so many of them. I feel like this, like, I feel like during the pandemic, you've seen a lot of these social influencers, and I feel like not everybody can be a social influencer. Like everyone can't be a poet, or everyone can be a dancer, or everyone has a unique thing to categorize them, and everyone is not for everybody. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Phobias.
Phobias. Um,
Yeah, phobias.
um, I don't know. Me personally, I just strive to, like, I'm what I would call a dare angel. So I like to take risk or anything. So I don't have a phobias of much. Like, I really don't have a phobia. I'm not, like, I like to take chances, and take a risk and do whatever the world, because we only live one life. So like I like to have fun. Like I've done skydiving, and I want to go do bungee jumping. So um, I'm not so much of scared, but you got some people, like, even when I was a young kid, and they had Maury show on, and they had the different things. People was afraid of cotton balls, and I was like, "How are you afraid of cotton balls?" But everybody has their own unique thing of what they're afraid of.
I got you. I got you. I'm terrified of heights. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, but uh I was this close to skydiving and I chickened out. So
You sound like my brother.
I get it. Hold on 1 second. 1 second.
I can't hear you. Oh.
Um, yeah, yeah. So, is do you have any final words before we actually close out?
Um, I just like to tell people, to be the best that they can be. Like this world is, hard to, deal with. People struggle and, you might not have so much a support team, like you might not have the support team within your own family, but there's different organizations, there's different things out in the world to assist with you. My main thing is people that have mental illnesses. A lot of people are in denial about those mental illnesses, and we want to basically just uplift people that are dealing with those things. As this world is not easy, so we just try to like my encouragement to other people is to, like, if you need that support, that help, you should reach out to people. There's a lot of assistance out there, and don't be afraid, or don't have too much pride that you can't feel the need to go and do these things, and believe in yourself, have faith in yourself, have pride in not so much pride, but have pride enough to have the courage to move forward and lead in a positive way. So we have these young kids these days where they don't know which path to go through, but it's like, we want to lead them to the right path. Some people go down, some people go up, but we want to make sure everyone goes up, so we want to build their confidence, build their self-esteem, and so forth. So my main thing is to people that do have mental issues. I just want you to feel like you need to be encouraged to move forward and do something positive with your life, even though it might have been negativity in your past. You want to make sure you want to change it and build it and so forth. And it's not everybody can't do it, but we just try to like assist and help.
Wise words, very wise words, and I support that 1,000%. Um, I know there's so much to you that the world hasn't seen yet, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of you around these parts and on social media doing your thing. You always have a seat here whenever you want to come up, whether it's to talk, a spoken word, open mic, whatever. And you always have a place here. Um, just hit me up, and we'll make it happen. I thank you for your time. I thank you for sharing a piece of your life with us. I send you my thoughts and my prayers in all endeavors. And moving forward, I hope that I can help in any way, shape, form, or fashion to see your vision come to light.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. It's been a pleasure to be on here and sharing my story. And I just hope that this can reach out to other people across the world.
Before we close out, do you want to tag any of your information for the people who want to look you up?
Sure. Where do I do that?
So you can either just send it to me privately, and I'll make sure that it's in the comment section. Um, you can kind of just shout it out here. You could do both, actually.
Okay. Um, so as I said before, my Instagram, my name is Myraklez. I go by my stage name is Myraklez. That's uniquely spelled Myraklez. You can find me on Instagram at Myraklez_10. Again, that is Myraklez_10.
All right, all right. Well, Miss Foster, it was a privilege and a pleasure to sit face to face with you and have this dialogue. I look forward to talking with you again. Have a blessed evening and blessings to everybody who watches this back. This
Thank
is
you.
Assembly of Excellence signing out and saying good night.
Good night, everyone.